Letting number 8684, expansion joint structure and exit 18, ceiling replacement T1 baggage claim level at Lambert St. Louis International Airport. We have 2 bids. Interface Construction Corporation, INTERFACE Construction Corporation, $271,900, 271,900.00. Cosney Wagner, Inc. KOZENY Wagner, Inc. $324,900. 324,900.00. With the low bidder, please meet with Ms. Bryant in the hallway. Thank you.
Hearing number 8224 is being conducted pursuant to Section 26.100.030 of the Revised Code of the City of St. Louis. The purpose of the hearing is to determine whether the conditional use permit issued to Central Market CO Mohammed Mahmood to occupy 4162 North Newstead as a convenience store with cooking and no liquor, subject to certain conditions, should be revoked. Again, the conditional use permit is numbered as 121853. This matter was continued from last Tuesday, January 29, 2019, pursuant to the property owner and the conditional use permit holder's testimonies that the said violations listed below would be in compliance today. Today's revocation hearing will continue, and we will hear from the parties and receive updated testimony from the zoning inspector. The conditions and questions are as follows. Condition 1. All banners, pendants, and similar devices for temporary outdoor display shall be prohibited. Condition 2. Any signage display in the window shall not cover more than 20% of the total window area. Condition 3. The applicant shall obtain a permit from the St. Louis Building Division for all signage, which must be approved by the Office of the Zoning Administrator. Condition 5. There shall be no sale of items that can double as drug paraphernalia, including food scales, blunt cigars, examples of White Owl, Tan and Black, Swisher Sweets, etc., glass tubes, disposable lighters with pop-off tops, steel scrubbing pads and screens, rolling papers, ephedrine or pseudoephedrine, diet supplements, sleep aids, bath salts, or other substitutes for illegal drugs. And condition 11, the applicant must establish a trash removal contract through a private source scheduled for regular trash pickups and maintain the entire premise in a clean and orderly appearance at all times. The Office of the Zoning Administrator has the burden to prove the conditional use permit conditions have not been complied with. After all evidence of the Zoning Administrator has been presented, the Board will ask for additional testimony, if any, in support of the revocation. Then the conditional use permit holder will be given the opportunity to present evidence. Lastly, the Board will hear other testimony in opposition to the revocation, if any. Your testimony is being recorded. When you come forward, please state your name and address and be sworn in. As you testify, please direct your comments to the Board and not to those in the audience. Members of the audience are asked to remain silent and not coach the witnesses. During your testimony, members of this Board may have questions for you. Following the hearing, the Board will proceed with its regular agenda. Following the conclusion of the regular agenda, the Board will deliberate, discuss, and vote on the hearing. The Board will notify the conditional use permit holder of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. The Board of Public Service has in its possession the following documents, which are being introduced into evidence. Item 1, a certified copy of the zoning code of the City of St. Louis. Item 2, the conditional use permit number 121853, issued to Central Market CO Mohammed Mahmood to occupy 4162 North Newstead as a convenience store with cooking, no liquor, subject to certain conditions. Item 3, a letter dated November 6, 2018, sent to Central Market CO Mohammed Mahmood, warning of violations of the said conditions that were found upon a site inspection and the potential for a revocation hearing should the violations not be corrected within 30 days of the date of the letter. Item 4, a memorandum dated December 10th, 2018 from the zoning inspector to the zoning administrator stating that upon that date, the zoning inspector found violations of conditions numbered 1, 2, 3, 5, and 11 of the conditional use permit. This memo includes photographs of the said violations. Item 5, public notices for today's hearing. And item 6, certified letter dated January 2nd, 2019, Central Market, CO Muhammad Mahmood and Nair and Abir Abjabar, 1204 Riverview Place Drive, Florissant, Missouri, 63031, from the board secretary providing notice of this hearing. At this time, the board asks a representative of the Office of Zoning Administrator to please come forward and be sworn in.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell you got it.
I do. My name is Myra Turner. I'm zoning inspector for the city of St. Louis.
Please proceed.
All right. Good afternoon, board. Upon inspection today, he has actually taken care of all the violations. Now, I still have number 11 on there, but the reason why I have number 11 there is because of the trash and leaves on the fence line. So I still have 11 there, but I just wanted to be clear that he has gone above and beyond to take care of everything else that was on that list prior to today.
Okay. Any questions from the board for the zoning inspector?
And I did speak to him about the trash and the leaves on the fence line, so he knows that they have to be cleaned up. But everything else was done.
Just want to say thank you for your efforts in this matter.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated. Okay, thank you. If there's anyone else in support of this revocation that wishes to testify, please come forward and be sworn in. Seeing none, the board asks the conditional use permit holder to please come forward and be sworn in.
Swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, you got it.
Yes.
Would you state your name for the board now?
Mohammed Mahmoud,
And your address?
4162 North New Street, St. Louis, Missouri, 63115. We take care of all the violations, you know. Even she mentioned the leaves. I sent my boy, he cleaned them. Everything has been taken care of.
Okay. First of all, thank you for doing that. We very much appreciate that. And as the zoning inspector, alluded to, please try to keep an eye on and pick up all the trash you can. And I would recommend that if you have any questions pertaining to your permit, to contact her. She's very knowledgeable in this area and would be glad to share that knowledge with you in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any questions from the board for the conditional use permit holder?
Yes, I just want to thank you for your cooperation. We've had you down here a number of times, and you've always been very courteous and respectful, so we certainly appreciate your cooperation.
Additional comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, thank you. At this time, if there's anyone opposing the revocation that wishes to testify, please come forward and be sworn in. Seeing none, the matter concerning hearing number 8224 is now closed and submitted. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Here.
Director Wilson.
Here.
Director Hayes is excused. Director Augustin.
Here.
Director Ergy.
Here.
Director Edwards.
Here.
And President Bradley.
Here we have a quorum. I'll call the meeting in order.
From the President, plans and specifications for levy number 8686, 2019, Capital Main Replacement Program, 6-inch main in Kossuth Avenue and 6-inch main in Palm Street, St. Louis, Missouri, Water Division. Supplemental Agreement number 6 to PSA number 1210, open-ended architectural design, drafting, and estimating services, Lambert St. Louis International Airport. Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission, STP Urban Program agreement between City of St. Louis, Missouri and Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission for the reconstruction of the Compton Avenue Bridge, project number STP 5451602. Agreement to repair the Holly Hills Bridge, DOT number 424852B, over Union Pacific Railroad at or near St. Louis, Missouri, between Union Pacific Railroad and the City of St. Louis in the amount of $25,000. New Corrections Division mat service contract with St. Louis Mat and Linen Company. Contract provides for the City Justice Center and Medium Security Institute through October 31st, 2019, and is renewable for up to 2 additional one-year terms with the maximum not to exceed over $15,000. Recommendation that emergency work orders issued for the month of August 2018 by the Department of the President and Facilities Management Division, Board of Public Service for emergency work and repairs requiring prompt attention be approved. Emergency work orders issued for the month of September 2018 by the Department of the President and Facilities Management Division, Board of Public Service for emergency work and repairs requiring prompt attention be approved, subject to be approved. From the Director of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that the following permits for AT&T be approved, subject to certain conditions as follows. Starting at the manhole 4035, which is in front of 1115 Clark, place 88 feet of fiber optic cable in the existing pipe to 1115 Clark. AT&T will need to dig a pit in front of 1115 Clark in order to gain access to the existing pipe that goes to the building located at 1115 Clark. Place Newberry fiber optic cable. Will start at existing manhole located at 620 Union, 200 feet south of Delmore in northbound lane. From this manhole going east, AT&T will bore under Union for 25 feet to Grassy Shoulder, then under 25 feet wide alley into Eastman. A new AT&T handhold 3 feet by 5 feet by 3 feet street rated will be placed in AT&T Eastman at southwest corner of 620 Union Boulevard. Start at existing AT&T manhole located on North Spring at West Bell, rear 915 North Grand. From this manhole, board north down North Spring for 244 feet, stand 6 feet off of the curb at Windsor Place. Turn and bore 4 feet from curb line under the north sidewalk for additional 941 feet, etc. Contractor to access splice at 5735 Elizabeth and bore 60 feet west, 120 feet south, then 200 feet west to customer conduit for 5850 Elizabeth. Joint recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. Charter starting at existing charter telephone pole at alleyway on the west side of North Garrison. Charter would like to bore south 341 feet, adding a vault in the sidewalk. From there, Charter would bore east 91 feet along the pole line in the alleyway into private property. Charter starting at the existing charter telephone pole in the north alleyway of 6105 Waterman. Charter would like to bore 516 feet west in the alleyway, placing a vault. From there, continue to bore west 369 feet, placing another vault in the alley. Finally, bore north into private property. TFC BJC Telecommunications starting at 4363 Duncan Avenue proposed to install 6 4-inch PVC conduit encased in concrete from existing TFC BJC manhole number 77 to new TFC BJC manhole to be set directly across Duncan Avenue to the south. From the new manhole, install 2 4-inch concrete encased PVC east to second new manhole serving an existing building being remodeled at 4340 Duncan Avenue. The conduit will be installed in an open excavated trench 36-inch wide by 54-inch deep. The conduit will be encased in concrete and backfilled and flowable fill, etc. From the Director of Public Utilities and Public Safety, joint recommendation that the following permits be approved subject to certain conditions. Redanda Tambic to subdivide land at 2852 through 54 Salina in City Block 1415 be approved subject to certain conditions. HEH Investments to subdivide land at 2856 through 62 Lamp in City Block 1414 be approved subject to certain conditions. Magton LLC for a boundary adjustment at 2304, 2306, 2308 Menard, and 1012 through 14 Shenandoah in City Block 798 be approved subject to certain conditions. Morpha Development Rental Properties LLC to consolidate land at 2742 through 54 Lafayette in City Block 1316 be approved subject to certain conditions. Joint recommendation that the following permits be denied by reason of the fact that it is a violation of Board Order 720. Himalaya LLC to subdivide land at 4201 West Pine in City Block 3914, and Growth Development LLC to subdivide land at 4349 Gibson in City Block 5114B. From the Director of Public Safety, recommendation that the following festival zones be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. Downtown St. Pat's Day for downtown streets and parks on Market from 20th to Broadway on March 16, 2019. Laura's Run for Kids at Lenore K. Sullivan in City Streets, April 27, 2019. And Girls on the Run Memorial Parks on 5th and Chestnut and Market, City Streets, on May 11, 2019. Now we have the conditional uses.
Good afternoon, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Dylan Mosier, zoning plan examiner for the City of St. Louis. Per board order number 766, transmitted herewith are recommendations for the following conditional use agenda applications. Approval is recommended for 2 applications, 3116 Locust and 2122 Cherokee. Approval with conditions is recommended for 8 applications, 7133 Virginia, 4229 Utah, 3212 Arsenal, 5048 Northland, 2714 Mackland, 4969 Goodfellow, 2813 Lafayette, and 5005 South Kings Highway. I request these recommendations be approved as submitted.
I'd like to ask just a couple of questions to start with.
Sure.
So we have 2 convenience stores today for conditional uses, one on South Kings Highway and one on Goodfellow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I noted that in both of those cases, in the applicant's statements, each one talks about their idea of what their business is going to be. For example, on Kings Highway, the gentleman talks about selling cigarette rolling papers, and the other gentleman at Goodfellow talks about hookahs and cigarillos. Now, both of these do have conditions in them that state that they're not supposed to sell drug paraphernalia. I believe it's condition 4. My concern is in a case like on Kings Highway, where you have one gentleman who comes to the hearing and he's translating for the conditional use holder because the conditional use holder doesn't speak English, right?
Correct.
And in another case, again, the gentleman may or may not understand. So are we making sure somehow, besides just listing the conditions, that these people are very clear that what they think they're going to do and what we're going to allow them to do are 2 different things in some cases?
Your question is, are we making sure that they understand the parameters of
Right. Do
what
they
we
understand
consider?
that we're telling them that some of these things they're talking about that they want to do, we're actually telling them in a condition they can't do it?
I personally, make a pretty strong effort, in my own opinion, to make sure they understand what that is and to make sure to be very clear about what their intentions of what they intend to do and what, will potentially allow them to do per their conditions to make sure that that's understood. I mean, truth be told, I can't necessarily speak to everyone's interpretation or ability to, understand.
And the reason I bring the point forward is this board spends a lot of time with conditional use holders that come in for said violations. Our zoning inspector has to go out and look at these things. And many, many times it is a communication issue.
Sure.
So, just maybe a point or a note would be is if there's some way that we can let them know when we issue these to them that, hey, this is something you really need to pay attention to, I think we should do that.
I echo that 100%, and trust me, I very much, it doesn't bring me any joy to, see all these issues over and over and over again with convenience stores, and I try to be a good civil servant to make sure that people understand these things,
Thank you for humoring me on that.
Oh,
Does
no,
the board have any questions on the conditional uses?
So I have a comment about when people apply for a hookah, they really have to have what's known as a retail tobacco store permit, because they should not be smoking in their facility unless 50% of their sales is tobacco related. And so that's something that we handle in the health department. So we should reach out to you, and so we can clarify.
Yes, please. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Other questions on the conditional uses?
Line 6, is that 6?
If you don't mind, what address? Lafayette. One moment. You're asking is condition number 1, does it say 65 children? Yeah, that was what they applied to have.
Okay.
It was. Yeah, I mean, we don't have anything. There's no maximum number that states that you can't have so many. That particular facility is currently operating, and they actually applied to expand from, I want to say 30. I'm not positive on that, but if I'm recalling correctly. But yes, it was advertised for 65 children. We recommended approval with conditions to allow for up to 65. It's a lot, that's for sure. It's a pretty large facility, though.
Any further questions from the board? Seeing none, I'll take a motion, please.
I move to approve the conditional uses as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second for approval of today's conditional use recommended. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes is excused. Director Augustin.
Aye.
Director Ergy.
Aye.
Director Edwards. And President Bradley.
Aye. Conditional uses are approved. Hearing number 8224. Before we talk about that, I want to make sure that I introduce into evidence the zoning inspector's report dated February 5th, 2019 for today, showing that all conditions have been complied with. We heard from the zoning inspector, and she resounded that everything had been complied with. Still had a little concern about some trash along the fence line. We heard from the conditional use permit holder, who has complied with our request in 7 days, and we are very appreciative of that. And so if there's any further discussion, I will open the floor up for that at this point.
At this time, the conditional use holder having now complied with all of the alleged violations, it is my recommendation at this time, and my motion that the revocation of the conditional use permit be denied in its entirety.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we do not revoke the conditional use permit. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes is excused. Director Augustin?
Aye.
Director Urgy?
Aye.
Director Edwards?
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye. The conditional use is not revoked. Turn your attention to our meeting minutes from last Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes?
I move to approve last week's minutes.
Second.
Moved and second for approval of last week's minutes. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie?
Aye.
Director Wilson?
Aye.
Director Hayes is excused. Director Augustin?
Aye.
Director Urgy?
Aye.
Director Edwards?
Abstain.
And President Bradley.
Aye. The minutes are approved. Today's agenda, questions or comments on the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved and second for approval of today's agenda. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie?
Aye.
Director Wilson?
Aye.
Director Hayes is excused. Director Augustin?
Aye.
Director Urgy?
Aye.
Director Edwards?
Aye.
And President Bradley.
Aye. Today's agenda is approved. Motion for adjournment, please.
I move we adjourn over here and celebrate Barb Burkett's birthday. That was Sunday.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned and moved over there.